Hey guys, so MTAC was last weekend. I've been sharing my con prep as part of my Life with ADHD series here on the channel, and also a couple of videos have been backer exclusive. But I did want to sort of do a video about doing conventions and having ADHD kind of self-contained to sort of bookend, since that was a lot of videos and I know some of you guys are not going to be able to watch all of those. So I normally like to begin my prep 2 weeks beforehand, and I have a lot of inventory. Most of what I do is reorder or repaint things. I don't necessarily brainstorm a lot of my new material 2 weeks before the show. I tend to do that much further out, like 6 months is what I would normally recommend. Unfortunately, I just got back from a trip to Japan, and you guys can check out how that affected my ADHD by clicking this link here. And I came back exhausted. I came back drained, and I had to hit the ground running because I was out of inventory. I had to do a bunch of new paintings. I had to paint a bunch of charms. I just had a lot of things that had to be done, and that was already kind of stressful enough. But adding vlogging about that experience actually meant I forgot to do a lot of things. A lot of things slipped my mind because I was distracted with trying to get the videos done and edited in a timely manner as well. So adding that vlogging element was actually really detrimental for me, but I hope it was a good experience for those of you who are looking for like kind of a real life example of dealing with being an artist, doing artistic things, making money as an artist, and also having ADHD. So I would recommend you guys check out my MTAC Con recap video, which you can also check out by clicking here, so you guys can get kind of an idea of what the alley was like, the stimulation level, the noise level. So my con prep week was already really stressful, and I ended up having a lot of anxiety over it and losing a lot of sleep. And it wasn't mental anxiety so much as physical anxiety. My body felt keyed up. And I ended up just not sleeping at all one night. And I know that anxiety, depression, and ADHD are often comorbid. So I wonder how much of that was anxiety spurred on by having ADHD. At the convention itself, I was already exhausted. So I hit the con tired, which is never good because a big part of my sales is my customer service and the persona I have, which is me, but like, you know, taken up a little bit, a little more hyper, a little more outgoing me, because I am an ambivert. I do kind of thrive from that, but I also get very tired afterwards. But my energy level was already really bad. And then at the con, so MTAC has a very small artist alley. And you guys can even check out an alley map by clicking this link here to go to my blog. It has a very small alley. Everything's very tightly packed. A lot of visual stimulation, a lot of big print walls this year with like just kind of, you know, big. And they also allowed other cons to advertise their con presence in the artist alley itself, which is something I kind of have a problem with. And that's mainly because the alley is already very small, very tight. And those con tables, they're not selling anything. They're just trying to get people excited about their con. So they'll use loud music. They'll use loud noises. They'll use a lot of cat calling, not like in a sexual sense, but like, hey, you, buddy, that kind of thing. Hey, Goku, I bet you want to go to AWA. Or, don't you want to win a lotto prize? You might win free admission. And it was literally all weekend long, pretty much. It was all day Friday, all day Saturday, and some of Sunday, and it was just an intense amount of stimulation. I mean, I'm already kind of losing my hearing to Meniere's disease, so trying to hear customers, especially very soft-spoken customers, who are very shy, and they're a little bit out of their comfort zone, and they're just kind of like trying to do the transaction and not be obtrusive, trying to hear my customers over all that garbage background noise was already difficult, and then the overstimulation from ADHD meant I was exhausted. I was like falling asleep in my chair the whole time because my brain was so overstimulated that I went into shutdown mode, which is not good. It's not good sales tactics. You need to be upbeat and enthusiastic, and this is my comic, and these are my prints, and here are my charms, and oh, do you want to touch, and oh my, you look so cute. Like, I need that energy level. And mentally tuning out all that garbage just from the other cons promoting their presence by being as loud and as showy as possible really made it hard to do my job as an artist and to do my job as a saleswoman. And this is not uncommon. Like, I'm not railing on MTAC. They were extremely receptive to that complaint. I was not the only artist who said something about it. They did something about it, and it wasn't on MTAC. It was actually on these conventions disobeying MTAC's request to stop it with all the noise. So this isn't like a negative critique at MTAC. This is just me talking about shows in general. I mean, most anime shows I've been to have had really high noise levels. I'm good to an extent at tuning out the extra, but like a lot of music, loud music, bright flashing lights, all the sort of things people are starting to do or doing again to bring people in the alley, which aren't involving their art, aren't involving what they're selling, is very, very distracting for me, and it makes it really hard to do what I'm doing. So something that I've noticed and over the years is that I need help with sales, especially if I'm doing commissions. I have no peripheral vision anymore, and so I can't see customers coming up if I'm working on someone's commission. And I do at-cons, and I like to do at-cons. I'm one of very few artists who will still do at-cons and do them to the quality that I do. They aren't just like a quick dashed-off sketch. They're very nice at-con commissions, and I think my customers really enjoy being able to bring home a piece of original art. That's part of what I do and part of why I do what I do, and I don't want to change that. So Joseph has been helping me, and my mom has been helping me at cons for a few years now. But Joseph can only help on Saturday and Sunday because he has a 9-to-5 regular working job, and I'm very appreciative of the time he can give me to help me at cons. But on Friday I'm by myself, and at a show like MTAC, Fridays are usually slow at other shows, but MTAC is Easter weekend, which means the kids had all week off. So they can be there at 9 in the morning at MTAC, and a lot of them are. Like a shocking number of people are there at 9, and to me, like, I'm a night owl. I don't even function at 9, so I'm already exhausted and overwhelmed, and the tubas from the JabeCon booth were playing at like 10 in the morning, so it was a lot of stimulation, and it was just a lot to deal with, and I feel like I've kind of hit my wall. And this week and being in Japan and then the con, it's made me really start to think about going back on medication. I've been doing it on my own since like my sophomore, maybe my junior year of high school. And when I worked within the structure of school, I functioned okay. I would get overwhelmed. I would get stressed out. But it's like my life is stressed out and my life is overwhelmed. And one of the solutions a lot of ADHD help books offer is like try to cut back, try to delegate. There's only so much delegation I can do. Like for example, I've been soliciting for paid guest posts. I pay my guest post writers. By the way, they get $30 a pop, which isn't great, but they get something. I pay my guest post writers, and I've been soliciting, and I asked just a general all call, and then I asked specific people. And I gave them a deadline, March 5th. I haven't gotten any of the solicited, and these people agreed. I was like, oh yeah, I can totally do it by then. I didn't get most of those guest posts. This was something like 8 guest posts. Now, fortunately, I don't pay until I get the first draft, so I'm not out money, but that was a lot of time I had to spend recouping, so that's something I couldn't outsource. Or like these videos, we outsource the editing, which is, you know, really nice, don't have to do it, but for stuff I record on my phone, like these My Life with ADHD videos, or some of my time-lapse videos, I edit those myself, and I have to schedule them. The guy who edits for me can't upload them to YouTube for me, and he doesn't schedule them for me. So that's still stuff I have to do. And then Patreon stuff I have to do. So there's still a lot I have to handle personally. Like with my table, because a lot of my draw is that I do commissions and that I sell original art, both fan art and my actual original characters, all of that has to be made by my hands. And I really love it when people come to the table and they're like, oh, did you make all this? And I can honestly say, yeah, I did. This is all me. That's something I'm very proud of because it's a lot of work, but I'm very proud of what I do. And even though I'm a very small business, that's mine and that's me and that's, you know, there's a lot of pride there. But being someone with ADHD who is juggling so many balls and has to do so much scheduling and so much planning and so much fine-tuning, finessing of things, I either have to be neurotic or up all night with anxiety, or I need help. So another thing I would like to do, I don't have health insurance. I live in Tennessee. Tennessee is not covered by ACA, and I cannot afford the monthly health care bill at this time, but something I kind of dream of doing, and I've even thought of just working at Starbucks. I love coffee. I like people. But I've even thought of working at Starbucks for the health insurance, because I would like to start seeing a doctor actually for my ADHD. I told you guys in an earlier video that all the doctors I had growing up didn't really care about the psychological effects of ADHD. It was pretty much open your mouth, here's your medicine, go on your merry way. They didn't even spend any time really fine-tuning the medication or the dosage, and they certainly never asked me how it was helping me or not helping me, etc. So I would really like to find a doctor, preferably an OD, so someone who kind of takes a whole view approach to your health. I would really love to find a doctor who can help me with this. I don't necessarily mean medication, but maybe even just like some eating tweaks or some sleeping habit tweaks, just something to help me better handle all this. And I have a feeling, and it's not going to keep me from seeing a doctor, but I have a feeling the real suggestion is do less. But I am a self-employed artist. If I do less, I will make no money. I'm barely making any, I'm not making a lot of money, right? There's not much profit to this, and it gets eaten by car insurance and rent and not health insurance. I can't afford that, and cell phone bills. So like there isn't a lot of profit to what I do, and I am sincerely afraid that if I start dropping things, there will be even less profit. So I am always trying to keep the balls juggling because I do need that income. So in terms of talking about conventions, because that's what this is about, a lot of my friends sell prints, like the fan art print walls, and it works for them. And realistically, I know that would be a better move for me in terms of money and stress, because I'd only have to do like 6 designs a year rather than the 100 and something. I paint like dozens of mini watercolors a year, you know, rather than like the hundreds of like little bitty watercolors I do every year. I could just do 6 print designs and sell those. But prints don't sell for me. I've tried prints, and other than like little 4x6s, which I sell for $2, they don't move for me. And a lot of why people like my art is because it's the actual media that it is. It's watercolor or marker, and I really enjoy selling originals. I want people to be able to own art. I want to kind of make it more egalitarian, to have art in your home that you like, that doesn't just look like garbage hotel art that you bought at Walmart, if you guys know what I mean. Like something more personal for you. And I know I don't really charge the prices I should charge, but that's because people really can't afford that, or they don't prioritize that, and I'm trying to normalize having actual art in your home. So that's really important to me, but it adds a lot of work and a lot of stress and things. It's very iffy because things won't necessarily sell. So all that kind of builds up. And I found myself just kind of falling asleep on Saturday. Now, I didn't sleep well on Friday at all, and I woke up sick on Saturday morning. So I've just kind of found myself falling asleep at MTAC because I just needed that like 10 minutes to decompress. And the thing is, I live in Nashville. I live 30 minutes away from MTAC, so I don't need a hotel room. That also means I am stuck on the Artist Alley floor all day. I don't have a hotel room to escape to, and given the parking situation where you have to park like blocks away, it's not an easy back and forth walk. I can't just go to my car and take 10 minutes. That said, if I were at MechaCon, where I have to rent a hotel room because it's a 40-minute drive and the traffic is abysmal, and then paying to park is also abysmal, I will go back. If I start feeling really, really stressed out, I'll go back to the hotel room and just lay down for 30 minutes if I'm not super busy, and just try to decompress and to de-stress and to have a moment to recoup so I can come back and be excited and happy and strong when I return to the table. Now, with MTAC, I did eat regular meals. I did not stay properly hydrated. I instead caffeinated, which is not good, but I was trying to combat the mental fatigue of all that noise stimulation the whole time. So I wish I had some good solutions for you guys, but I really feel like MTAC for me this year was kind of a fumble. I didn't really give myself enough time to plan. I did do an excellent job of planning out the tasks that I needed to do, and you guys can check out how I did that in my con prep videos. I was very good about setting realistic goals and sticking to those realistic goals and forgiving myself when I couldn't do that. But at the con, it was just like a bombardment, and some of it was out of my hands, like the noise level, and some of it, because I noticed on Sunday when they really cracked down on those other cons using loud noise to attract participants, I was very engaged, I was very outgoing, I felt really happy, I felt a lot better, I was doing much better, but Sunday's con sales are always kind of slow. So it was kind of too little too late. But I wish that I'd been able to access that energy and engagement level earlier in the show, because I think it would have made a difference in my sales. I'm also kind of disappointed that I didn't have time to do the signage I wanted to do, but that was one of those things that I just had to make peace with and let go. I usually do have better signage, and I've misplaced, because I'm ADHD and I'm messy. I misplaced my commissions sign, like the big one I put up. And I want to do a new banner this year anyway, so my new banner is going to actually say signs on it. I mean, commissions on it and originals on it. Like, I'm going to have my banner integrate that. So it's not, I'm not dependent on finding another sign and then finding a place to put the sign. So that was kind of my experiences with this con. Every con kind of varies. Indie comic cons vary a lot from anime cons. Anime cons tend to be very, very overstimulating, in your face all the time. Lots to see, lots to hear, lots to do. Whereas indie comic cons can be a little more chill, to the point where they're kind of boring because there's just not a lot going on, and maybe foot traffic's kind of slow. And when I'm preparing for an indie comic con, I will do another, either a week of con prep, or another My Life with ADHD, to kind of give you guys the differences. Now, some of the things I was selling, I had prepared way in advance. So I had 5 copies of 1001 Nights, which was a Lady Night anthology I participated in 2 years ago. They finally sent it to their artists this year. So if you're looking for volume 3, hit me up. I'm selling copies for $30 rather than the requested $50, because $50 is super expensive. Who's got $50 to spend on a book? Even if it's a good looking book, it's still not worth $50. And I say this as someone who contributed a watercolor comic to it with 13 nights, because I needed to up my night count. 13 nights and 4 pages, y'all. So I had that, and I had copies of 7-inch Kara, and I had my Kara portfolio that had been put together beforehand, and I had my stickers, and for now they're hand-cut stickers. I do have a Cricut machine that I need to learn how to use, and I've been postponing it because y'all probably understand why. But I had stickers that were prepared, and I had mini prints that were kind of prepared. So I do have some prepared items that don't require a lot of finagling and fussing with ahead of time, and don't require me to actively draw it at the con to sell. And those aren't necessarily like my favorite. I mean, Kara's my favorite thing, but like, you know, the mini prints are cool, but they're not like the thing I'm most excited about. That's Kara and like original pieces of art or commissions. And the stickers, like, everybody likes stickers, but there's not a lot of money in stickers. But it's nice to have those kind of things, because you can sell those while you're working on commissions. I did do a really good job this year not taking too many commissions. Last year I took too many commissions. I took more commissions than was healthy for me to do, because I was in kind of dire straits financially, and I'm not much better, but I'm really prioritizing my health this year. So I took fewer commissions, and I did have to turn some people down, which kind of sucked. But like, if you're asking somebody at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night if they can do an act con for you that night, the answer is probably going to be no. I didn't take any act cons on Sunday, because that was something I promised myself I wasn't going to do, because I have a problem with, I'll take act cons on Sunday and then something will happen, like some minor disaster that eats 2 hours of my life, and I don't get to finish those, or I get a booth barnacle. I didn't get any of those this time. Everybody was really polite. Everybody gave me space to work. People came and said hi, and then were respectful of my time. So in terms of like interpersonal interactions, other than the noise level making me into a zombie, I was very happy with how Impact went this year. I was very pleased and delighted with the audience who came to visit me. And I got a lot of people who told me that they really loved the commissions that they bought me from me in the past, and they had them framed, and I had people buying repeat commissions. So there was a lot of soul-fulfilling interactions. I wish I could frame them all so that I could look at them when I start feeling depressed and like everything I do is garbage and nobody loves me. I know, I shouldn't say things like, I do feel that way sometimes, but I also know it's not a realistic view. But I'm also somebody who really needs a lot of praise and encouragement, and I don't get that. So, in fact, people tend to turn to me for that, and it's just like, hey, I'll groom you, you groom me? No, I groom you and you walk away. Just like my cat. So in terms of interpersonal relationships, I was really happy with the interactions I had. I wish I had been more engaging. I was a zombie, so I didn't do as well as I usually do, and I really hope MTAC cracks down severely on the noise level for next year, because it really made it hard for me to do my job. But that was really good, and I mean, I forgot a few things when I was packing, and I went home, could go home at, you know, when I went home that day, I couldn't just run home and grab them. So it wasn't like the biggest deal, and Heidi and I joke that you always have to make a sacrifice to the con god. You're always going to forget something. Well, I kept forgetting important things like my sign. I forgot my sign at setup, but I had it Friday morning. Or I forgot my markers on Friday, so I had to wait till Joseph could bring them to me at 6 to take at con two-tone commissions. Not that anybody was like super begging for them at that. Like no one was like, I need it now or I won't buy it. Most people were like, okay, cool, I'll come back. So I forgot a few things, and then repacking my bag was just like a disaster. I promise I didn't buy that much stuff. I do love giving patronage to other artists in the alley, but there were so many print walls, and I don't have room for more. Y'all can tell I don't have more room for more prints, and there weren't a lot of people selling books that I didn't already own. So in fact, I don't think there's anybody selling books I didn't already own. So I mostly bought bath products from Bats, who make phenomenal bath products, and I bought some really cute Band-Aid hair clips because my hair is clearly in my face all the time. And then I bought a really cute pair of fawn horns, and I made Joseph wear them the whole time because he looked like a prince of the forest. It was super cute. And see, that's, okay, so I want to talk a little bit about impulsivity. It's really hard for me to leave my table because if I leave with money, I'm going to spend it all. Because I really want to support the other artists in the alley, but that's often a one-way street. You go spend your money over there and they don't even care. Like, they can see your artist badge, and MTAC has badges that are like specifically for the artist, and they don't even ask. Whereas if I see it, I'm like, oh, cool, where's your table? What are you selling? How's your weekend going? I've kind of noticed just in general at cons, the vibe in anime artist alleys is very like every person for themselves. And not that MTAC was really like that. I actually made a lot of friends this year and got to have dinner with some really cool people. I was so fortunate. I really liked my table neighbors on both sides. I was next to Bats, and I was next to Matt, who makes this really cool J-Rock stuff, and he was sewing by hand all weekend, which was just incredible. So I was really fortunate this weekend to be near wonderful people and surrounded by wonderful people. Oh, don't want to go around the whole time. All right, okay. So MTAC was so crowded this year, and not with necessarily people looking to buy, but just people kind of standing in the alley, that I didn't make it all the way around the alley, so I apologize, but I did give some patronage to my fellow artists. And I have to be careful because I'm like Oprah Winfrey when it comes to giving out cards. I'm just like, money for you, and money for you, and money for you. And then I have all this stuff. And it's great, but I don't have room for it, and I didn't really have the money to spend. And other artists aren't always cool with doing trades, or they don't want to ask about doing trades. FYI, I'm always down with doing trades. I like trades. Trades are great because I'm exchanging my product for your product, so I get to go home with something new, and I didn't have to spend money I don't have. But me shopping the artist alley is an exercise in impulsivity. And what I will usually do is I'll send Joseph around and have him tell me all the best stuff, or I'll send him with money and be like, get me stuff you know I'll like, because he's not impulsive, so he will be more careful about what he gets. And I tend to be happier with his purchases than I tend to be with mine, because sometimes I'm just like, why did I buy all this? I like their art, but I'm not even a fan of the show that I bought this for. Whereas that never happens when he buys stuff with around the alley. So I want to encourage you guys to support other artists. I want to encourage you guys to foster a friendly atmosphere and to be interested in engaging in what your other artists are working on. But if you have a problem with overspending, which is very common, especially for women with ADHD, it might be beneficial to send your partner or a friend around to pick for you. That's all I'm really saying. So that was kind of a wordy, my life with ADHD, con stuff. That is me, and I apologize. I hope you guys learned something. I hope this was helpful for you, even if you just learned what not to do. And I want you guys to share at least one convention experience with me where your ADHD was an asset, like you're very outgoing, you're very friendly, you told some funny jokes, something awesome about your ADHD, and one experience, if you're comfortable, it's always if you're comfortable, one experience where you felt like your ADHD made it harder for you to do the things you wanted to do in terms of conventions, either prep, planning, or at the show itself. So I will see you guys next week with another My Life with ADHD. We are finally past all the con prep ADHD vlogging, but I still have Cherry Blossom Festival here in Nashville. So if you're watching this and you're in Nashville, I would love it if you came by, you said hi, you maybe picked up a copy of Kara, or you commissioned something. I would love to make something for you, or just say hi and say, I really enjoy your My Life with ADHD videos. Thank you for doing them. That's super awesome, and I always appreciate when people tell me that, because I never really know who my audience is, and it's like, oh, it's nice to meet you. So I had a lot of really awesome people say hi to me at MTAC. They said they recognized me from my videos, like my sticker video, which is like super basic how to make stickers, but hopefully it gets you making stickers, or some of my other reviews. So hi guys, it was really nice to meet you, and I'm so glad you came by, and I hope to see you again next year, and maybe at Cherry Blossom. So bye.